Joe Biden continues to reach into the recycling bin of failed Clinton-Obama operatives to staff the administration. Picked the highly controversial, discredited Democrat operative Neera Tanden to be his Budget of Office and Management Director, which is a Senate-confirmed position. A long, troubling history of promoting conspiracy theories, smears against Republicans. 2018 suggesting the Steele dossier, with the hookers, mostly proven true, and said that one that said, yeah, they were urinating in Trump's bed in the Ritz-Carlton. Also promoting the smears against Justice Kavanaugh. Spread a conspiracy theory in 2016 that Russian hackers flipped votes from Hillary to Donald Trump. As the Federalist pointed out, Tanden had been on a tweet-deleting spree, getting rid of 1,000 tweets since mid-November. Here with reaction, Senator Lindsey Graham. Let me first go to Weissman's op-ed. 3 years, a dossier now that led to 4 FISA warrants. Now, you've had James Comey, Sally Yates, and Rod Rosenstein all say, knowing what they know now, they wouldn't have used the dossier. They wouldn't have signed the FISA applications. Now Weissman is saying, if Biden became president, his AG needs to go after Trump on the same thing. Now, if I'm Donald Trump and I'm reading this, I'm like, what, do I have to pardon myself and my family on the way out the door? Because it sounds like it.
Well, all I can say is that there are no mulligans here. We spent $25 million. We had 40 FBI agents, 19 prosecutors, 500 witnesses interviewed, 2,500 subpoenas, and they found nothing. So think about Georgia. If we win both Georgia seats and have 52 Republican senators, the Attorney General nominee, if Trump falls short and Biden wins, will come before the Judiciary Committee chaired by Chuck Grassley. There's no way in hell anybody's going to get confirmed that would agree with Weissman. If we lose both Senate seats in Georgia, then Dick Durbin will be chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, most likely. If we win both seats in Georgia, I'll be the budget chairman. Anybody, the OMB director has to come before the Budget Committee for hearings to be confirmed. I think I would ask different questions than Bernie Sanders, who would be the budget chairman if Democrats won in Georgia. So if you want to stop this nonsense, if you want to make sure this nut job Tanden doesn't become the director of the budget in charge of the Office of Management and Budget, then make sure we win in Georgia. If you want to make sure that Weissman doesn't get his way and Biden can't pick an attorney general that will try to destroy President Trump yet again, then you need to make sure Republicans win in Georgia.
Doesn't that put a chill up your spine? And you had said early on, if we don't get to the bottom of these irregularities, Republicans will never win again.
To my friends in Georgia, all you need is one person to validate his signature on a mail-in ballot. The Secretary of State talks about driver's license being used when you apply for a mail-in ballot. That is if you go online, but if you request through the mail, there's no such process. So what would be helpful is if the governor would call in the state legislature to require bipartisan signature verification, that in the January 5th Senate election, that both sides looked at the signature, not just one person. I hope they do that before time runs out.
These seats matter. I don't like the way this is lining up because they've shown no interest in calling a legislative session to make sure any problems they have are fixed for the benefit of the people. Like, they just have these drop boxes everywhere. Senator, thank you.